everybody. It's nice to see you two here today. We'll see what happens in a little bit. Maybe some more people will come.
Sure hope so.
Come or call, and this will be welcome. Anyone wants to call, you can call up, send a text message, whatever is easier for you to do. We're studying Numbers chapter 31 today, and we'll have a good discussion about these verses. Let's begin with a word of prayer. Father, we do thank Thee for Thy word. Allow it to be an encouragement to us as we look at some of these verses and study them and think about them. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so Numbers chapter 31. We could maybe read how do we say go around 3 times or something. So you read 1, I read 2, 3, 4, 5. Go back and forth until we get to verse 6.
Okay.
All right.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. Afterward shalt thou be gathered unto thy people.
And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian.
Of every tribe of 1,000, through all the tribes of Israel shall ye send to the war.
So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war.
And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, to the war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand. As we've seen from all our study of Numbers and other parts of the Old Testament, the Lord speaks, in this time period, speaks directly to people, in this case his leaders, his servants, in this case Moses. So God is speaking to Moses here. In verse 2, Bill, of whom were the children of Israel to be avenged, would you say?
The Midianites.
Midianites. Now Midian was a neighbor on the other side of, down in the region of, to the south of the Dead Sea. You can see the Dead Sea's over here.
Yeah.
So Midian's kind of down here to the south of that area.
On the Jordan side.
Yeah, on the other side of Jordan. Yeah. It's not really labeled on the map, but that's the general region where they're at. They're basically a neighbor. I think at one point in time there used to be a region called Transjordan. I think that they may have reached across the Jordan River in that area. I'm not sure that encompassed Midian or not, but so Midian is in that neighborhood.
In that general neighborhood, yeah.
The general neighborhood there of Israel, the Dead Sea, and so forth. And so they are going to be avenged. To whom did Moses speak, and with whom were they to go to war? We see that Moses, after he got the Lord told Moses what to do, and Moses didn't invent his own thing to do. He went and he told the people. He spoke unto the people, and he told them that they were going to go to war against the Midianites. Question 4, Bill.
How many men of war were to represent each tribe? 1,000.
1,000. So we have 12 tribes, each representing the 12 sons of Jacob. And the dynamic is we have sometimes Levi's taken out of the equation, but we do have an extra. We have half tribe of Manasseh, half tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh, or the Ephraim and Manasseh. Call them a half tribe is a little bit confusing because they were their own tribe. And the half part sometimes gets mixed up with this because one of the tribes, we'll talk about that later, but one of them half the tribe lived on one side of the Jordan, half the tribe on the other side of the Jordan. But we have Ephraim and Manasseh are representing Joseph, who's the 11th born son of Jacob. And so we have this battle that's taking place. They're going to go to war with Midian. Hi.
Hi,
I'm
sorry.
glad you came.
And I brought someone with me, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
At least they're in the car. I'm not sure if they're coming in or not.
Okay, well, I'm glad they're in the car at least.
Yes.
So send them our wishes if...
Oh, I don't think I will. I'll just... if they come in, then they'll receive them.
Okay, that's fine. That's great. We were just talking about how in Numbers chapter 31, how the Lord is speaking to Moses, how the Lord is giving him instruction to be going to war against the Midianites.
Okay.
And we see here in verse 4, we're reminded that 1,000 men from each of the 12 tribes are to participate in this battle. So looking here in verse 5, what were the total number of men who were armed and to go for the battle? We see here the scripture says 12,000 men who were armed and ready to go forth to battle. And this was, it's not like a battle we have today with weapons that could fire bullets. The weapons they had were weapons, handheld weapons. They may have had some type of slings and so forth to project stones and so forth, or catapults. But a lot of this was handheld, hand-to-hand combat that they were involved in. Tammy.
Do we have any idea how many Midianites there might have been? I mean, I'm just curious, because it's not really that many men.
No, you're right. It's not very many. I'm thinking there's probably more than 12,000.
Right.
I mean, I think this is, proportionally speaking, it's probably not all that many. I mean, or probably Midianites would have, these guys are speculating, but they probably had 10 times more people in their battle.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's, like I said, I'm guessing, I'm speculating. It's not a number that's, I don't think it's going to be, they're not taking everybody, but I think it's a matter to demonstrate that God's the one that's giving the victory, rather than it's the strength and the skill of the Israeli army that's giving the victory. He specifically says, get 1,000 from each tribe. But as far as that number 10-to-1 ratio, I don't know if that's accurate. I'm fairly certain that there was more of them than of Israel, but that's how it's been in every instance that they had before. In some cases, even if you think of the Battle of Gideon, he was down to 300 men that faced the enemy. And so, Tammy, you want to do question number 6, please?
Question number 6.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't say.
No, it doesn't.
At least I don't remember it saying, but I was just curious. Of course, it was a defensive battle because, and so usually when you're going on an offensive, you would think of taking a whole large number of men. But anyway, or soldiers. What is the name of the priest's son? It's Phinehas. And what did he bring with him? The holy instruments and trumpets.
Okay, so they brought this into the Bible. Let's read a few more verses. Tammy, we're reading like 2 verses each. We're taking 3. We're reading three times. We each take turns reading one verse. Go to Tammy, start with verse 7.
And they warred against the Midianites, as the Lord commanded Moses, and they slew all the males.
And they slew the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, 5 kings of Midian. Balaam, also the son of Beor, they slew with the sword.
And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captive, and the little ones, and took the spoil of all their cattle, and all their flocks, and all their goods.
And they burnt all the cities wherein they dwelt, and all their goodly castles with fire.
And they took all the spoil and all the prey, both of men and of beasts.
And he brought the captives and the prey and the spoil unto Moses, and Eleazar the priest, unto the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the camp at the plain of Moab, which is by the Jordan, near Jericho.
And Moses and Eleazar the priest, and all the princes of the congregation went forth to meet them without the camp.
And Moses was wroth with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle.
And Moses said unto them, Have ye saved all the women alive? So looking back here at verse 7, who did the men of war slay? They went there and they had a tremendous victory. They were able to slay all the males that were there at Midian. And so, Bill, you want to do question number 8, please?
How many kings were in Midian, and who else was slain? Well, I'm going to read the verse because it says a lot in there. There were 5 kings, and they slew the kings of Midian beside the rest of them that were slain, namely Evi, and Rechem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, 5 kings, and Balaam, also the son of Beor, they slew.
Okay, so we had 5 kings that were listed there, and it brings up here Balaam. We know him from some previous chapters.
Yeah, and he's going to come up in another verse later on in this chapter, and he's treated as if he were alive. So that raises a question.
Okay.
When we get to it, I guess.
When we get to it, we'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
A question, Tammy?
Well, I was thinking about that chapter, was it 25? I think it's 25. The matter of Peor, plague for Peor's sake. And I wonder if that was Balaam. That was Balaam because he's the son of Peor. If that's a reference to Balaam, it's when the Midianite women come in and they basically intermarry with the Israelites in chapter 25. I don't know. Anyway.
That could be. It could have reference to Balaam.
Okay. Am I supposed to do
In
something?
verse 18. Okay. Now, that's I don't know if there is a difference between Peor, with P as in Peter, or Beor as B as in boy. Peor, but Peor does seem like it does have some connection.
Oh, he was the son of Beor.
It has some connection with idol worship, I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know.
I'm sorry. I missed that. It was the son of Beor, not Peor. Okay.
Right.
I did it rather rapidly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So you were going to talk, let me see, Tammy, looking at verse 9, what became of the women of Midian? Well, they took all the women captive. Remember, all the males were slain. We've got the 5 kings of Midian being slain. We have Balaam being slain. The son of Beor, as in B as in a boy. He was slain as well, according to this verse. And we see here that they took the women captive. All the women they were taken captive, taken hostage.
All the women who were not with men.
Yes, that's...
But they took all the women captive.
The first step is they took all the women captive.
Okay.
And the second step, later on, we see that they thin that population out, by just saving the unmarried ones, and killing the other ones. But at first, they take the women captive. I mean, obviously that's something they were really not supposed to do, but that's what they did. Tammy, question number 10, please.
what did Israel do to the cities and the castles? They burnt all their cities and castles with fire.
Okay, so they had a big slaughter. They had a good victory. They slew all the men, took all the women captive, and they burnt everything else that was left behind. And what was taken, I mean, that's as far as the cities and the castles. I guess the content, according to verse 11, some of the content of those houses and castles were cleared out. They took all the spoil and all the prey of both the men and of the beasts, so they were able to have some of the spoil they kept. Bill, question number 12, please.
What is the name of the priest, Eleazar, and by what river is the plains of Moab? That's the Jordan River.
That's right, it's by the Jordan River. Jordan River runs from the north to the south. You can see over here in this map a little bit here. For instance, the Sea of Galilee. Basically, that's in the northern part of Israel. And down, it's the southern part, that's the northern part of Israel. From the north down to the south part of Israel, down to the Dead Sea. Right here, it's the Sea of Galilee here, Jordan River, the Dead Sea. We talked about the location of Midian and Moab is down here, kind of on the other side of the Dead Sea, maybe a little bit south of that Dead Sea area, but still it's on the other side of the Dead Sea. Tammy.
I'm just trying to remember. There was an order. Was it Midian, Moab, Edom? Edom sort of south of.
Yes, Edom is down that area too, isn't it?
But there was like 1, 2, 3, and I am trying to remember which one was the northernmost one. It might be on one of these maps in the back too.
It probably is. Maybe on one of these maps too. Let me just see. I know it gets confusing sometimes with people. We have to put the maps up here. That's that territory. I have to remember to put it back. All right, so. I'm just trying to see if I can find it on this map. I'm looking at a map here. Briefly. Here, this is something here. Okay, so Edom is to the south of Moab. Now I'm looking
south of Midian too, I think.
Let's see.
Or is it
So they don't have to give us much of a problem here, but anyway, remember to put them back. So, is this okay looking like this or not? Or should I put it?
No, it's all right.
You see, okay, so we have
Ammon.
Moab is here. Edom is down here.
Oh, it's Ammon that's above.
Yeah, Ammon is above, and I suspect Midian.
It's even further south.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I guess it's Ammon I was thinking of.
Ammon, yeah,
Ammon, and then Moab, and then Edom.
Right, and so we have up here. We know that this is Syria with an A, Syria. Pardon me, Syria. Syria without the A. Syria is where Damascus is. We talked about that. How Paul was on his way to Damascus. We weren't talking about it here in our numbers discussion, but quite often it comes up in our other Bible studies.
But this was during the time of the kings. So in the Lord's, I'm sorry, I'm really getting off track. But the Lord's,
okay. We like that.
In the Lord's day, was that region that's yellow to the east of the Sea of Galilee? Was that part of
Here's one that's
Syria?
Here's one during this time. Let me.
I mean, I'm just wondering because Jesus went from one side of the Sea of Galilee to the other, and I think that was Decapolis or something.
Mm-hmm. And, Korea? Is that what you mean, on the other side of Jordan?
No, on the other side of the Sea of Galilee, north of where it's in the yellow part. Can you look at the map a second, honey?
Okay. This yellow part here?
No, the yellow part. On the other side of the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee is up north, dear. Not that far.
Sea of Galilee, got it, okay.
In the yellow part, on the east.
Yeah, that's where the...
During the Lord Jesus Christ's day,
yes. Mm-hmm.
Was that Syria or was that actually Israel?
I think that was part of Israel. This is...
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Syria didn't
I don't
come that
think
far south.
He wouldn't have gone over there, I don't think.
No.
Or was it
Yes,
from
no, I
Israel?
had another. So, let me.
Okay,
Okay, let me go to the time of Christ. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the location of why these maps are people all confused. So that let me continue.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's the person in the car.
I understand that I met a little girl for last week and playing her game now. Okay. I mean, she wasn't playing with the map. She was just. Never mind. So here's Palestine in the time of Christ. So
Oh, there's Decapolis.
you see what
Okay.
the answer to the question is. Here's the Sea of Galilee,
Yeah.
and so we have
He went over to Decapolis.
right. Mm-hmm.
What
That's
is
correct.
that orange territory?
Yeah, over here to
Does it say Galinga? Galinga?
yeah. Mm-hmm. And so
Abilene, I thought that was in Texas.
getting so
I don't see Abilene, Bill, but okay.
Oh, it's a purple part. Way
Okay,
up north.
that's why.
there's another map here that I could show where the I had it in the Syria. And, Moab, Edom,
They can do this.
Ammon. Okay, this was in here.
They can do
During the
this.
time of Joshua, okay, so maybe this is it. Okay, so Canaan, 12 tribes. Okay, so we have here, it's the Sea of Galilee here. We have the Jordan River runs from the north to the south, down to the Dead Sea. And so we have this area of, we got Moab here, we have Edom is down here, down this way. I think Midian
It would be further south.
a little bit further to the south. So it's not even on the map here. But anyway, that's the idea of where these places are.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. You're welcome.
It's interesting maps.
Who went forth to meet the men of war? We see Moses, and maybe you already answered this question. Moses and Eleazar and all the princes. So we have this victory. This is in Numbers chapter 31, verse 13. And Tammy, please answer question 14.
Okay. And it says, with whom was Moses wroth? The officers of the host.
Because he was wroth with him. I mean, he was upset with him. And notice here in verse 15, Moses asks this question. He says, he was wroth with them, and he asked the question, have you saved the women alive? I guess, as you see in the previous verse, that's what they did. They saved the women alive. All the men were slain, but the women were saved alive. Let's read a few more verses, Tammy, and we'll get some of these verses here.
It's verse 16.
Yeah, begin verse 16.
Behold, these caused the children of Israel, through the counsel of Balaam, to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord.
Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man by lying with him.
Verse 18, please.
But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves.
And do ye abide without the camp 7 days? Whosoever hath killed any person, and whosoever hath touched any slain, purify both yourselves and your captives on the third day and on the seventh day.
And purify all your raiment and all that is made of skins and all work of goat's hair and all the things made of wood.
And Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war which went to the battle, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord commanded Moses.
Only the gold and the silver, the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead.
Everything that may abide the fire, you shall make it good through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water of separation, and all that abideth not the fire, you shall make go through the water. And one more time, Terry. One more.
And ye shall wash your clothes on the seventh day, and ye shall be clean, and afterward ye shall come into the camp.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Take the sum of the prey that was taken, both of man and of beast, thou and Eleazar the priest, and the chief fathers of the congregation.
And divide the prey into two parts, between them that took the war upon them, who went out to the battle, and between all the congregation. Just looking back here at verse 16 for a moment. By whose counsel the children of Israel trespass against the Lord. So, going back to a little bit in their historical time period, they trespassed against the Lord through the council. I phrased the question a little bit incorrect here. That's why maybe you were confused about whether Balaam was living or not. We see that behold, these caused the children of Israel, meaning these being the Midianites, through the counsel of Balaam to commit a trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. There's
Okay.
Peor again,
Yeah.
and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. So Balaam gave wrong counsel. He was involved in, had an alliance with Midian, and he was trying to cause Israel to be defeated, but every time he was trying to attempt to curse Israel, he blessed Israel. Bill, question number 17.
What was to happen to every widow and all the young males? Killed them.
Okay. Every male was to be killed, and every woman that was married previously was to be slain. What was to become of the unmarried women? You see that they were kept alive. All the women that were unmarried, the ones that had not been married, they were to be kept alive. And I want to read question 19 and answer it, please.
For how many days were some of the men of war to abide without the camp? 7 days.
7 days, that's right, 7 days. And you see here in verse 20, that certain things needed to be purified, and had to be raiment and clothing, and also things that raiment. In other words, they were made of skins and of goat's hair. Any kind of raiment had to be purified, and also things that were made of wood. They had to be purified. Tammy, question number 21, please.
Before I do 21,
Please.
I have a question.
Huh?
So we have in verse 16, we have Balaam the son of Peor, and the matter of Peor
Yes.
from chapter 25 that I mentioned.
Mhm.
And then in Numbers 22:5 it says Balaam the son of Beor.
Yes.
So it seems like it's either Beor or Peor, depending on how it's pronounced or how it's transliterated.
Mhm.
Is it transliteration? Is that what it is? From the Hebrew, or
It could be a
Beor or Peor?
quite often it would be transliteration, I suppose. You know.
So I mean, it's the synonymous. So this could be referring to the question about the wives or the women, the women and saving the women alive could relate back to chapter 25 then.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that was something that Balaam was responsible for, apparently.
Yes, mm-hmm. That's right.
Because it was talking about the son of Peor.
His transgression, his part of his transgressions.
I mean, he was supposed to curse Israel, but he didn't. But then it seems like he ended up perhaps encouraging the women to intermarry somehow to cause them to fall. Even though, so there may be something that's not, it's just based on what we see in chapter 25
right.
is implied, but it's not explicitly written. Just anyway. Does that sound right or no?
It does.
So I'm doing 21?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Who spoke with the men of war? Eleazar the priest.
Eleazar the priest, he spoke with the men of war. And what were some types of metals that were present during the raid? We see these precious metals that were present were gold, silver, brass, iron, tin. Well, tin and lead aren't really all that precious, but these are some of the metals that are there. Gold is there's a lot of value to it, and so as silver does, not quite as much as gold does. But these are all things they were able to capture during this, as a result of this battle that they participated, in which they participated. Bill, question 23, please.
How were things purified that were flammable with water?
Okay. Where they were purified with water. So either with the... Right, Tammy? Question?
It's just, first they go through the fire.
Yes.
And then they were purified with water. I mean, it uses the word purified with water, but they have to buy the fire, so.
Okay, so they, then there's the
so
water.
In other words, the dross isn't going to be there.
No. Okay.
But that's right, because they're purified with the water. It says in the verse, but if it doesn't abide the fire, then it won't.
It's not going to abide the fire. It's not going to.
It's
it won't last.
It's not going to be purified with water, then.
Right.
No, but it says, "And all that abideth not the water, ye shall make go through the fire." At the end of the verse.
So. We have, looking back at verse 20 for a moment, purify all your raiment, and all that is made of skins, and all the work of goat's hair, and all things made of wood.
But I guess I was thinking of the gold, silver, brass,
yes,
all those metals. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking of the skins and the all the other things, the wood things. But that's right, Anna. That's what it says.
Upon what day were they to wash their clothes? It says on the seventh day they were to wash their clothes. Andy, you want to do question 25, please? This is use question 25.
That's the tough one.
Who spoke to Moses? The Lord.
That's right.
That's Bill's favorite.
The Lord.
I still don't fully understand that.
Well, it's kind of hard to understand because he's never spoken mouth to mouth to us. So.
And so, well,
you have to take it by faith, Bill.
You answered that question, right?
Yeah.
What was to be numbered? Take the sum of the prey. They were supposed to take the number of what they captured, the beasts, and so they took a sum of the prey.
Man and beast, right?
I was taking both a man and a beast. Thou and Eleazar the priest and the chief fathers of the congregation. We had Moses being involved with this, Eleazar and the chief of the fathers of the congregation. They're counting when they're taking a survey of those things that were taken. Tammy, question 27, please.
Into how many parts was the prey divided? Well, it was into two parts. Those that fought, there were 12,000 that fought, and the whole congregation.
Okay, so you have a portion of it being reserved just for the 12,000, and the other part reserved for the 600,000 men, whatever the number was. It's a little bit more than 600,000 men besides women and children. So they're sharing some of it. Of course, the ones that were directly involved in the battle, proportionally they had more because there's lots of them. But nonetheless, the whole congregation is benefiting from the spoils of the war. Which 28. Tammy, we'll read some more verses here. Do you have a question about something, or?
Well, it's not related.
That's okay. We like those kind of questions.
It's not really a question, except can we pray for a couple people? Jill, I spoke to her by way of text message, and she's has a problem with her plumbing still, and it sounds like she's waiting on someone. Whoever came to repair it or to fix it didn't fix it and charged her $150. So they're basically mistreated. I was just thinking of the widows in this case because they don't have anyone they didn't have that man to get them the money that was allotted to all the congregation, and their father may have died.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just thinking of Jill. So that's why I'm.
Do we know if she's able to call back the plumber?
Well, apparently she's getting someone else to come. So I don't know what. I don't know. So.
Do we know if did our widow know that it was that it appeared to be fixed when they left, or I don't remember
I don't know.
I don't remember the details. It was a slow drain problem,
right?
Which they do.
Well, it could be perhaps a little more severe than.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like it's probably still draining a tad bit, but it's hard to know.
Okay. And was there any more requests than this or not?
Another one for Pat Hanahan.
Okay. She looking for a house or a place to live?
She has an apartment. She was intending on moving out of her apartment that she's in now, but she's not able to move out because she's been sick and she's been working. And she, just a couple of days ago, she finished her last day of work. But she's going to, because of the situation, she's going to take her 401k that she has at her old job that she had, and she's going to use that to pay for one more month of rent so she can get herself moved.
So she's going to get a 401k loan. Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be a loan or what it will be, but anyway, whatever.
And that's just going to stay there in her.
But she needs to get the money ASAP for expenses. So, anyway.
So she needs it by the beginning of the month, or maybe she needs it by December 1st. Okay.
Yeah, that's Saturday. I think
it's the
tomorrow's
30th.
Oh, tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on
it's
Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, and so she's got a lot of moving to do too.
Okay.
She doesn't have much furniture, so.
And does she have a new place already or not?
Yes, she does, and she can walk. So it's wonderful.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's good. Mm-hmm. It's always good to be have that option, being close enough to be able to walk.
Hopefully, it's a safe neighborhood when she gets off from work.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll pray for Jill and Pat at the end of class.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I just had them on my.
No, thank you for reminding me. I mean, thank you for. We were thinking about these verses there, and we did have a memo from Northfield. So thanks for letting me know about everything. Mosman's listening in Northfield. So.
2 people or 1 person?
Or 3 people.
I can't say.
Okay.
Could be 3 people. At least 1 person.
Okay.
Anna believes it's 2 people. But if you're
Anna doesn't know.
if you want to take it, well, that's a message from her. Thank you for checking on that. They are helping us. And there's other people that are listening too, but I'm not sure where they're from. But if you want to let us know where you're from, let me know by way of text message, by way of email,
Thank
by way
you.
of phone call. We have two ladies, one single lady that's sick, and she has to move from her house, from her apartment to we'll call it another apartment or a place where she's living. And her name's Pat. So Pat and Jill. Then the class will pray for Pat and Jill. And there was
What were you at? Were you asking me to read some verses?
yeah, we're going to
Is that where we are?
start with reading verse 28.
28. Okay.
Yes.
And levy a tribute unto the Lord of the men of war, which went out to battle, 1 soul of 500, both of the persons and of the beeves and of the asses and of the sheep.
Take it of their half and give it unto Eleazar the priest for a heave offering of the Lord.
And of the children of Israel's half, thou shalt take 1 portion of 50 of persons, of the beeves, of the asses, and of the flocks, of all manner of beasts, and give them unto the Levites, which keep the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord.
And Moses and Eleazar the priest did as the Lord commanded Moses.
And the booty, being the rest of the prey which the men of war had caught, was 600,000 and 70,000 and 5,000 sheep.
And threescore and 12,000 heaves, or beeves.
And 61,000 asses.
And 32,000 persons in all of women that had not known man by lying with him.
One more verse.
One more.
And the half, which was the portion of them that went out to war, was in the number 300,000 and 30,000 and 500 sheep.
And the Lord's tribute of the sheep was 615.
And the beeves were 36,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 12.
And the asses were 30,500, of which the Lord's tribute was 61. Look at verse 28. What was to be given to the Lord? A levy and a tribute was to be given to the Lord. So all the things that were captured, we have the portion of it was given to the half of it was given to the men of war. Other half was given to the children of Israel. But among that portion that was given to the those that did not participate in the war, a portion, 1 in 50, I think it says, which is going to go to belong to the Lord. Bill, question 29.
What is the name of the priest to whom it was to be given? Eleazar.
Eleazar. Eleazar is the name of the priest. And what priest was responsible what tribe was responsible for keeping the tabernacle? We see here, tribe of Levi was the one that was responsible for keeping the tabernacle. And Anna, question 31.
The Lord commanded.
Yes, I got that off a sign in the neighborhood. No, I just typed it wrong. It wasn't on me.
Moses.
Moses and
Almost
Eleazar.
like that question from earlier. Who spoke to Moses?
Yes, that's correct. I like that question. So, looking at question number 32, how many sheep were recovered? We see here 675,000 sheep were recovered. A lot of sheep.
Enough to make a couple sweaters.
Yes, I think so. And how many beeves were caught there, Tammy?
72,000.
In verse 33?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 73 score. That's right, 3 score.
72,000.
72,000. Because a score, we know that on November 19th, 1864, Abraham Lincoln. Wait a minute, it was.
63?
Oh, pardon me, it was 1863. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Only Anne would know that.
1863, November 19th. November 19th, 1863, Abraham Lincoln in his Gettysburg Address said 7 years ago. And so he knew what a score was. A score is 20. So, but that we had 72,000 beeves. Now, we notice here in verse 34 that we had 61,000 asses were retrieved. And Bill, question 35.
How many unmarried women were captured? 32,000, or is it 2,030? I'm not sure how to interpret.
I think 32,000 is the correct way of reading that. 30 and 2,000. I think that's how the structure of it. So 32,000 is correct. And so that's how many. And so we're released, Tammy, from your earlier questions, how many there were there. We know they were, just by who was left, they were outnumbered not close to 3 to 1. By those who were left, the captives, it's not exactly 3 to 1.
What question was that?
You were wondering how many were around. How big was Midian's army, or the Midianites' army? Didn't you ask that question? This is not a question for you, but I thought you asked that question.
I did.
And so we see here that from the people they captured, I know it's not 36,000, but we'll just, for sake of our discussion, let's say there were 36,000 unmarried women they captured.
Okay.
I mean, they actually have captured the married women too. I mean, we'll get double. But it's probably more than double. But we'll just, for the sake of our discussion, we'll double it. But then we say the ones that were the surviving ones, the ones that were unmarried, they were outnumbered 3 to 1.
The soldiers were.
The soldiers were. Just with they had. So they had each of them had. So when we think of how many, they were substantially outnumbered in this battle, I believe. And so it was clearly the Lord that was giving them the victory in everything.
I guess you're basing that if there was a soldier for each one of these, or more or less,
right,
young women.
Yeah, these were
These were the
children.
Right.
These were the
girl children.
The daughters. Yeah,
the women children.
Yeah, the women children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then there were men children.
Right.
That were killed, and the women that were older or that had been married.
Right.
They were. Mm-hmm. So then you'd multiply by 3.
Right. Each one is. Exactly.
You're having them represent one soldier.
Yes,
at the bare minimum.
I'm having that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
It's good extrapolation.
Yeah. So we can get if we had something to do in Algebra 2 in the back row, or even in the front row. Everyone knows Algebra 2 in this room.
Or calculus.
Or in the back row. In the back row.
Or calculus 3.
Or even someone that's listening may know Algebra 2, or we can figure out a more precise number, but based on
Algebra 1 maybe even
Algebra 1, based on how many what the cattle that was captured, based on all these different things, we could perhaps figure out what trends were as far as how many. But anyway, we know that the Lord's the one that's giving them the victory in all this. And so we see in question 36, who received half of the portion? So we notice in here half of them that went to war, and the other half went to the children of Israel as a whole. So Anna, in verse 37, how many sheep were the Lord's tribute? 675, that's correct. And how many beeves belong to the Lord? We have 72.
What is a beef?
I think it's some type of
cow.
Some type of cow.
Oh,
You know, some type of cow. I mean, sometimes we call we have beef. You know, and so I guess maybe
In the Old English? Or
Maybe
not,
Old English,
not old,
but-
but whatever English
Right.
the King James is.
and so it's a cow. Beeves would be a cow. And
Because when you have a plural, the F changes to a V.
okay,
So instead of being beefs, they're beeves,
beeves.
I guess.
And if you don't even know how to have the alphabet to know that. That's why we have with Tammy, she knows alphabet
You
two.
don't
She
even
knows
need to define King James Bible. You just need to know English
right.
and how you have to drop the
Right.
F and change it to a V, like in the word leaf.
Yes, one of our friends says
a lot of hamburgers.
yes, there are a lot of hamburgers.
Where's the beeves?
Yeah, we at least it's fresh though. They're fresh beeves. Are they not? At some places the beeves are fresh.
They're not too fresh, otherwise they'd be living.
They're semi-fresh beeves.
Sure
I
glad I'm
suppose.
not one of those cows.
And we see here the tribute of asses that belong to the Lord, verse 61.
There was a hand up back there.
Oh, Anna, go ahead. I missed your
I
hand.
was trying to figure out what verse it said how many soldiers there were.
Oh, we just know how many.
Oh, it's before you came in, Anna.
We were having we have as far as how many soldiers from Israel.
Yes.
Verse
Oh,
4.
it goes back to verse 1, I think it is. Verse 1 or verse 4.
1,000 from each tribe.
1,000 from each tribe. So how many?
12,000.
Okay.
12 times 1,000? Can you use your algebra to determine this? 12 times 1,000, what's that? That's
Multiplication.
multiplication.
First grade math.
First grade math. For
For this
school
one.
that I went to. 12,000. So question number 40. Bill, question number 40, please.
How many persons belong to the Lord? 32.
32. Okay. And so,
I have a question.
yes.
So would these 32 young women be somehow working about the temple? Or what would they be doing?
I guess that's what
Or
they would do.
servants to the-
Service to the Levites somehow,
Priests or
or
Levites?
priests. That's right. And what type of offering was to be offered to the Lord? We see Moses gave tribute, which was the Lord's heave offering. So it was a heave offering. You know, you're lifting up offering to the Lord. That's the type of offering it was that was given to the Lord. And Anna, question number 42, please.
What are we doing? What was the number of beeves that were portioned to the children of Israel?
Which
42
number
is
it?
Question 42. You have the different question 42, I guess.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. Among whom did Moses divide the rest? The children of Israel's half. Wait, what? Now what?
Let's try to show the men that warred. From the men that warred. Let's read some more verses here. I forgot to read these three we just talked about here. Tammy, pick it up with verse 43.
Now the half that pertained unto the congregation was 300,000 and 30,000 and 7,000 and 500 sheep.
And 30 and 6,000 beeves.
And 30,000 asses and 500.
and 16,000 persons.
Even of the children of Israel's half, Moses took one portion of 50, both of man and of beast, and gave them unto the Levites, which kept the charge of the tabernacle of the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses.
And the officers, which were over thousands of the host, the captains of thousands, the captains of hundreds, came near unto Moses.
And they said unto Moses, Thy servants have taken the sum of the men of war which are under our charge, and there lacketh not one man of us.
We have therefore brought an oblation for the Lord. With every man hath gotten of jewels of gold, chains, of bracelets, rings, earrings, and tablets, to make an atonement for our souls before the Lord.
And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of them, even all wrought jewels.
And all the gold of the offering that they offered up to the Lord, of the captains of thousands and of the captains of hundreds, was 16,750 shekels.
For the men of war had taken spoil, every man for himself.
And Moses and Eleazar the priest took the gold of the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and brought them into the tabernacle of the congregation for memorial for the children of Israel before the Lord. Notice in verse 43, how many sheep belong to the congregation? We see 337,500 sheep belonged to the congregation. And Tammy, what was the number of beeves that were portioned to the children of Israel?
36,000.
36,000. And we see here in verse 45 how many asses were allotted to Israel? 30,500. And Bill, question 46.
How many people were divided among Israel? 16,000.
16,000. And to whom did Moses give one portion of 50 from Israel? They gave them to the Levites. And, Anna, question 48.
Who came to Moses? The officers over the thousands and hundreds and so forth.
Okay, verse 49. What was not lacking? The lack of no man among us. So
That's amazing.
there's no casualties whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
No casualties at all.
Only the Lord.
That's right. That's right. Only the Lord.
It reminds me of the battles that they've fought in recent years. I mean, in the last 75 years in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they were way outnumbered, and
Yes,
it
they
was
were.
all miraculous.
Question 50, Tammy.
What was to be made before the Lord? An oblation of gold, and it's all these different jewels. There were some of the gold was chains, bracelets, rings, earrings, and tablets. I don't know what would tablets be.
Some type of jewelry, I suppose.
These are small flat things to wear as an ornament.
Okay.
Defined.
All right.
A small flat thing. That's good. No.
Thank you.
I like your... I'm not making fun of you. You're wearing a small flat thing.
Can you imagine what that small flat thing would be worth today?
A lot of money.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
this. Mm-hmm.
So if anyone says that I'm using my tablet to send an email, and just say, "Oh, you're using that small flat thing."
That's right. And if anyone has a small flat thing they'd like to communicate with us on today, please do so by sending us a text message or an email.
Well, they used to write on small flat things that were made out of clay.
Yes,
but
they
I
did.
think these small flat
These
things
they were
contextually must be made out of something like
some
gold or
precious metal.
silver.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gold, so I agree with you.
Seems like it must be gold,
Mhm.
based on the context.
Right.
I don't think they wrote on them.
No, probably not.
I mean, I suppose one could have engraved something of meaning on it.
Right. But it wasn't something that was erased
Right.
often.
What did Moses and Eleazar take from the men of war? They took the gold and the wrought jewels. That's what they took from. They collected those precious things. And the bill, question 52, please.
How much gold was brought as an offering to the Lord? It says read verse. It's a little not as simple as it sounds. All the gold of the offering that they offered up to the Lord of the captains of thousands and of the captains of hundreds was 16,750 shekels.
So 16,750. That's a lot of weight there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a measure of weight.
Measure of weight,
not
yes.
money.
Yeah, measure of weight, yes.
Boy, could you get some money for that today?
Yeah, I looked it up. It's 13,310,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could live on that.
And just imagine, things weren't quite as expensive back then.
Yeah, it wasn't. What did each man of war take for himself? You see, they'd taken the spoil, every man for himself, a portion of the spoil.
We don't have that in our armies anymore. They don't. The soldiers don't get any of the spoil.
No, they don't.
They're divided up between the businesses and the politicians.
Mm-hmm. They are, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a good point,
No.
Bill.
Yeah, unfortunately,
That's
it's
literally,
true.
yeah, it
People
is.
are literally
It is.
fighting for somebody else.
Yeah, the mercenaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And Anna, question number 54, please.
And Moses and Eleazar the priest, question 54, who brought the gold into the tabernacle of the congregation? Well, I just told you.
Yes, Moses and Eleazar the priest. That's who brought the wool.
Thank you, Anna.
So, so Tammy, question 55, please.
Okay, so
Now, just before you answer question 55, if anyone else is listening today and wants to answer question 55, question 55 is, want to read it, Tammy?
they can call.
Make a call or send a text message.
What are three key observations that you have from Numbers chapter 31? Well, I gave one already, that all that 16,750 shekels of gold would be worth 13,310,000 today. And interestingly, those that fought of the soldiers, they paid a 0.5%, and I think that's right. And those that did not, they paid, oh, now I'm getting myself all mixed, 5%, is that right? 1 out of 50, 5%,
2%.
2%.
Well, the men were going to 0.5%, you said? And so the...
Maybe it wasn't a half. 1 out of 500. What would that be?
That would be a fifth of a percent. No, wait.
So we need algebra 2 to figure out this question.
Well, I
1 out of
actually...
500. So what, did you figure out a dollar amount you got?
2%.
No, I did not. But
So-
just in noting that there was a different... those that actually fought actually got more of the booty than those that did not.
So-
But they still gave some,
Yes.
like David with the soldiers in
Right.
Keilah, I think it was, that stayed with the booty, or rather stayed with the stuff, and those that went to fight, they were not going to give them anything. And interesting, the Lord already laid down what each group would get. So.
Mm-hmm. So we go in now. I was going to...
I have one more.
To keep our algebra too simple.
I had a response to Mom's comment.
Okay, go ahead.
So they got a veteran's discount.
Yes, there you go. That's good. So,
So that'd be $500 each.
What? How are we getting the $500?
Using algebra 2.
Well,
You see, I'm saying that the value is $12 million instead of
that's the
$13
value
million.
of the gold.
that's the gold that was given to
We're
the
talking.
priests.
We're talking.
Well, that's the goal was given to the priest.
We're
Okay.
talking about the sheep and the oxen.
And
Oh.
so they were probably,
Asses.
they had, we don't know how much each man's booty was.
No, we don't, do we?
So,
Well,
as
we-
far as the gold and the silver, I mean, some of that wasn't worth it too much.
Well, you're right, this is the amount that was given to the 13 million
It was given to the
was for
priests.
the priest, which is 1/50th of the actual amount, wasn't it?
No.
No?
I
Okay.
don't know.
Well, let's
No,
get-
we don't know about that with it. That
No, we
was
don't.
only the animals and
You're right,
the
we don't know.
men.
We can't say at the moment. So your third observation.
And my third observation is, going back a little bit, we saw the Midianites and how they were, and in chapter 25, and so God commanded them to drive out the Midians, to kill them, and it's just obedience to God's will drive out sin from the camp and
So,
causes separation from evil doers and brings prosperity, not necessarily financial, but in that time everything was a physical promise. The promises of God were physical, but we can have spiritual prosperity when we do these sorts of things
that's
to
correct.
obey the Lord.
Bill, question 55, please.
One of the key point that I got from it, and the only one actually, was that we're not as smart as they were in those days. They fought for money, for spoils, and for land. We fight for principles.
Okay. And question 55.
So I have to make 3 observations.
You have to make 3 key observations.
Key observation. I am not a good student. I missed many classes and I was late to class.
You found from Numbers chapter 31.
What?
3 key observations that you have from Numbers 31. If you just want to make one observation, you may.
Here's a key observation here.
Oh, you're funny, Bill.
Corny but funny. Yeah.
It was just I had a cross reference for verse 8 in Joshua 13:22.
Joshua what? 13:22?
Yeah.
Want to read it?
Balaam also the son of, well, I guess it should start verse 21. And all the cities of the plain, and all the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, which reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses smote with the princes of Midian, Evi, and Rekem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, which were the dukes of Sihon, dwelling in the country. Balaam also the son of Beor, and Soothsayer, did the children of Israel slay with the sword among them that were slain by them. That's what's interesting about Balaam, because he should have known better, but he...
You should have. Mm-hmm. You're right.
And then they were supposed to purify themselves 7 days from the battle.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So I guess if you think about it, in some ways, the different thoughts that God has were just, there was a certain ceremonial, they talk about the ceremonial law and the certain ceremony, but then also there's a reason, or certain reasons as well, like, God knew about all the bacteria and things that man didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a certain sense, it was not only ceremonial, but also to protect people and to have proper sanitation and proper just cleanliness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if they had killed someone, then their blood may have gotten on their clothes or on their hands or
Right.
anywhere. So yeah, that's good, Anna.
And so we have, noticing three things here, God's commands. He gives the command for them from so many from each tribe, to 1,000 from each tribe to go into battle. And he commands them to go into battle. And God's control. He's in control of the whole battle. No casualties whatsoever, the 12,000 that God provides for them after the battle. All these things were taken in as a result of the victory battle it brought them. Any more observations anyone has? Let me see if I have I'm not sure if I got another text message that came in or not. Okay, so Tulip Street. I'm not sure where Tulip Street is.
Is it New Jersey?
Yes, someplace in New Jersey, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's down the road from Daisy Street, I guess. I don't know.
I think you're making a joke.
I am making a joke, but there was something going on in Tulip Street
In Camden.
in Camden. But we won't talk about that right now.
8th and 12th.
8th and 12th, okay. But God is in control. God provides and God commands. Any more thoughts anyone has about this particular chapter? Well, if not, let's close with the word of prayer. Let's remember Jill and Pat also as we close. Father, thank you for the word of God. Thank you that you are providing for us every single day, and you're in control of everything that happens in our life. Please encourage both Pat and Jill at the moment. Jill's perhaps a little bit discouraged, distressed, the fact that this plumbing problem that she has was not resolved, was not fixed by this plumber that came out earlier in the week. Allow this problem to be resolved, and we do ask that she would not be feel herself as a target of people by her not being having a husband that's living right now. But we do ask that would encourage her and would protect her and provide for her in this time of need. We also think of Pat and this request she has to be able to get a hold of this money she has stored up in her 401k. The loan can come through so she can pay for another month's rent. We do ask that this can go through quickly. Perhaps before the market closes today, so that the monies could be in her account for Monday, so that she could be able to pay her rent for one more month without any penalty. Allow her to recover from the sickness she has and give her a smooth move to this new place where she's going to be staying. And thank you for providing her with this job that's so close to her new place. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I was just thinking, too, Jill's problem. I wonder if the plumbing inspector can be of any help to her. Every construction repair job to homes and everything, if it's of a certain size or larger, that an inspector has to come around and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But when a plumber is not doing his job correctly, or he's cheating, charging the customer too much money for work that he's not doing effectively, there's usually got to be a system of recourse for everything in the United States. And I don't know if a plumbing inspector can be helpful there.
It's possible.
But if he can't, if he can't do anything himself, he might be able to refer her to another agency which can.
Maybe.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think usually
Do you
the...
have that information for the plumbing inspector, who that would be?
I would look under in the government pages of the phone book. I don't know if it would be under county or state. It would be one of the two. It wouldn't be city.
Okay.
But yeah, that I would go that route. At least make some inquiries because it sounds like she was cheated.
Yeah, it does.
And if that's the case, then it's unfair that she, just because she may not be aware that there is recourse for that, or even possibly the Better Business Bureau.
Okay, yeah.
There's got to be some recourse, because a lot of times women are helpless when it comes to jobs that supposedly men are supposed to understand. And
Right.
women a lot of times get cheated. Well, I don't know too many mechanics that do that anymore, but I knew there were a lot who did cheat them on car repairs a lot of times.